Happy Halloween! Thank you everybody for joining. This is going to be a fun one. I've got some fun stuff in store for you today. Make sure I'm on the right microphone. Looks like everything is good. I see a bunch of faces in the chat. So nice of you to join. This is going to be, yeah, I hope you like my little creepy countdown timer. That was something I had a last minute thought last night. I was like, oh, I should have made the spooky music for the countdown and also changed my map to black and orange. So yeah, glad you all appreciated that. That was fun. And yeah, Chris says, surprised we don't have bats and witches flying overlays. I prepared some stuff. We'll just say that. Did not prepare graphics for this. But yeah. Oh, I see someone's asking if I am, where was that? Why am I not wearing a costume? Because I am not dressing up today. Today, my studio is dressing up. In fact, let's go take a look at the first place we're going to go visit. And now I am coming to you live from John Barker's studio. And yeah, this is my studio's Halloween costume today. Actually, I've got a few more to show as well. Let's take a look at this one. Now I am over at Photo Joseph's studio. So his link is down below as well. Maybe I can go check his email over here really quick, see what's going on his laptop. Yeah, so this is the plan today, is to just have fun with a green screen and go visit some other YouTubers' studios. So we'll see how that goes. Jim says, you're freaking me out. Oh, that one freaks me out every time. Every time when he comes and says hi. Oh my gosh. Now this is spooky. Yes, I agree. So yes, Joe, this is in fact a green screen, and I actually, in fact, green screened myself onto my own studio to make that happen. And now I can pop back over to this set, which is also a green screen. Oh, I gave it away. I have a very narrow window here to do this. I can't go past there. It's got to keep everything very close. I'm glad you all are enjoying this. I thought this was hilarious, and I wanted to share this all with you as well. But we've got a few more places to visit. So we are going to also go and say hi to Petra over at Tech Condo. And this was, yeah, so this is Petra's set. I think you might recognize it. And she wanted me to let you know that there is in fact a light blinking over there. So I'll show you how this is all put together in a minute, but we're going to go through a couple more of these first. Yes, my hand cutting off at the green screen edge is spooky. Yeah, I keep messing that up. It's right at the edge. I have to keep everything very close. So yeah, happy Halloween. So, oh, Bailey says, can I come to Australia? I can, actually. Let's go pop over to Australia. Let's see. I've got Ryan here from Australia. So he was nice enough to send me his background as well. Which at work, yes. So, okay, let me talk about what's going on, because there's a couple different parts to this. This is obviously like, yeah, everybody can do this now with a virtual background on Zoom, right? But there's a little bit more to it than that on a couple of these. And a couple of these have slightly more going on than just a virtual background, such as this one from Alex. Now, you might notice that there is a microphone in front of my face. So what's going on there, right? This is actually like in front of me, but it's also part of the background. So yeah, there's the way this one works. You can I'm kind of giving it away here because he had a chair in his background and I'm also sitting in a chair, so you can kind of tell it's fake. But there's that table layer, right? That's the foreground, and that's the same layer as this microphone is. And then I'm sitting in between that and the background. And I will show you all the pieces of this as well. Photo Joseph needs a lower third for the desk. Yeah, he does have one. So check this out. Same deal with him. I'm behind his desk, and I think my green screen isn't quite wide enough to go behind the laptop. Oh, it is, just barely. I can go behind the laptop here as well. This one, you might notice the reflections are wrong because I'm not reflecting on the table the way that I would if I was actually in front of his desk. So yeah, I'll show you all the parts of this in a second. And but we still have a couple more to visit. Oh, there he is again. This whole time I was working on this, and that was just like playing in the corner of my screen. It just catches my eye. I'm like, what is Joseph doing here? How did he get here? Okay, so let me know if you have any questions about this. Otherwise, I'm just going to start kind of explaining it as I go. Oh wait, we still have a few more places to visit. We visited Alex with the microphone. Oh, I've got Jason Morris here as well. Jason's studio looks fantastic. I really like this studio. Oh, he's also in Australia. And he's got the table in the foreground as well, which I have to kind of like keep my hands back here in order for it to look right. Otherwise, it looks wrong if I put my hands too far out and then I don't go onto the table, but I can kind of go like that. Yeah, Alex is great. And then we've got Leela from YouTube, who also, this one is a lot of fun. This one is also an animated background, which I think is this one looks the most thematic for the day. A nice little candle glowing in the background. And this one is obviously this one's got the most motion out of everybody's. Petra's also has a little blinking light, but it's really subtle. But I like the glowing candle, the flame. And it took me a little bit to get this to not glitch out when it loops. And I can explain how I did that as well. And I turned into a ghost at Photo Joseph Studio. Yeah. And then, let's see, lastly, I've got Adam's studio here as well. And, oh, I just realized I made a mistake. But that's okay, because we are going to do one of these live. I actually forgot somebody. But we're going to take a look at that from whose studio should I do that in? Maybe we can go to Joseph's studio because then he'll pop into the background all the time, which is hilarious. Okay, downloaded that file so I can do this live. Joe says, how much time did you spend tracing those foregrounds? Yes. I will just say this one took the longest. This one took the longest because that very detailed edge around that microphone had to be just right in order for this one to work. Okay. So let me start taking this apart for you. And let's see, let's pop back into John's really quick. He's also got a foreground bit. He's got that microphone here, which I'm also behind. And I'm going to do one of these live. So we're going to go, yeah, we'll stay here and do one of these live because I missed Curtis. Curtis sent me his file and I somehow completely spaced. So we're going to go and let's see. I think the way I'm going to do this is, can I do this in the super source? I don't think I can. What I want to do is, no, I'm just gonna have to be regular in my super source. Okay, so we want that. I'm gonna put my, oh gosh, too many windows here. we're going to go and pop back over to my set really quick, and then use this as the super source background. Good enough. Okay. So, oh my gosh. Oh, the green screen is still on. Great. Let's turn that off. So this is what I'm actually in front of right now. This is a nice little green screen. And what I'm going to do is show you all the parts that go into this and build up Chris's set. So, or Curtis. Oh my gosh. I think I was looking at the chat and Chris said something. So here's all the graphics from everybody's. I'm looking the wrong way in the super source. Sorry about that. Here's all the graphics from everybody's studios, all the bits and pieces. And I do have a couple of redundant ones because Joseph's is actually video. So I think I'm going to take over that spot with Curtis's graphic. So let's see. I've got his in the, let's go here and load up his really quick. Make sure I have the right folder open. And that is in, oh, that is too small for me to see. My latest trick for dealing with my multi-view and like dual computer situation is I put my computer screen in the top left corner there, so it's just a little bit bigger, like so I can see it. Okay, so we're gonna go into my virtual sets, and I think I put his file in here, Curtis's studio. So we're gonna take a look at this in Photoshop, and this is opening. Come on, you can do it. There we go. So all I need to do, this is a simple one. There's no front layer. So all I need to do is just get this background into the media pool. And since I'm in Photoshop, I might as well just go and use the export to the media pool. And we're gonna take over Photo Joseph's background because I don't need his background layer because that's on the hyperdeck, which I'll also explain in a minute. So we'll just export that. And now we can build this up. So I've got right now, my set in the background, but we're gonna go and replace it with Curtis's. And then if I were to switch to this camera, it's not gonna look right? And you can't green screen an input that you've got on the program. So what you have to do is use a different layer for the program. So I can go, for example, and put his frame in the program as Media Player 1, but it's this upstream key that's doing the work. So upstream key 1 over here is configured as this camera. And you might notice that there is a crop, a mask, and that's because my green screen does not go all the way to the edge. This is the full shot, and this is why I keep getting cut off when I use my hands too much. So this is the actual live shot. I think you can kind of see it over here as well. You can see the green in the background, and I am cropping I'm masking the key. So I'm only keying out that part because my screen isn't big enough to cover the whole background. So when I go and turn that on, now I'm in front of whatever is in the program. There's my hand's getting cut off again. So right now what's on the program is the super source, right? Which is why you're seeing the computer screen and also me over there. I could go and show just the computer screen in the background, for example. But since I've got Curtis's studio in the Media Player 1, I can now press that, and now I am in his studio. So that's part 1, is just getting the green screen working. The next trick is everybody's sets were slightly different field of view and had a slightly different, like they were in the frame in a different distance to the camera compared to where I am right now. So so with Curtis's, for example, I look like I'm too far away, right? Oh, I see Photo Joseph just joined. Let me jump over to his since he's here now. So let's go back to his studio. And this one did work. Actually, let me double check. This one I might be farther away compared to my actual camera angle. Let's see. If I just pop back to the if I just pop over to my full, yeah, okay. So see how I zoomed in a little bit when I did that, and if I go back to here, I'm a little bit farther away and like raised up a little bit. That's because it didn't look right when I was normal size. And if I, in fact, if I show you, it's using the flying key feature. So if I just change that manually, this is what it looked like before. And it's a little bit too close because it looks like I'm closer than I should be at the table. So I zoomed myself out a little bit to look, to make it look a little bit more realistic. And oh my God, that freaks me out every time. So yeah, everybody's sets were at a slightly different angle and things like that. So I had to actually change all of those settings for the keyer on the fly. So that's one of the reasons that I have that transition over it when I go between them, because I'm actually changing more than just the background. Also, it looks weird if I just blink from one studio to another. Like if I just go and replace the background graphic right now without doing my actual transition. Oh, right, he's on the hyperdeck, so I can actually just go and change back to Curtis's with Photo Joseph's table in front, which is on the downstream keys. These are all the different layers involved, right? So that's kind of cool. Now we can see what it looks like to be. I can start compositing different studios together. But back to the set, and I need to change all of these settings at the same time when I go between these studios. So that is where the next part of this fits in, which is companion. So companion is how I have all of these actions happening and queuing up. Also because remember how I have this is all being done in the ATEM Mini Extreme, but that overlay, the stinger, is actually done later downstream in the TV studio. So I need to control two different devices, right? I'm controlling like a hyperdeck, a TV studio, ATEM Extreme, and that's where companion really starts to be useful. So let's go pop over and take a look at the companion setup, which is, let me see. Actually, I want to put my super source down in this box so I can see it. Yeah, that's what I thought. So pop over to the super source, but I've left the green screen on and we don't need the key. And then let's put a different background for that. Okay, so what am I saying? Companion. We're going to talk about how the buttons work. So in companion, I have a new screen for today. And I actually need to make a new button for Curtis because I don't have his yet. So since his is just one layer, it's one of the simple ones like ATEM. And what I'm going to do is copy this over to here and then change the graphic so I don't lose track. And we're going to put his picture there. Only proper PNG files are supported. What's a proper PNG? What's improper about this? Oh, it's a JPEG. Okay. So we're going to have to export that as a PNG. Export as Curtis. And now I can bring it back into companion. And okay, so now I've got that picture, but here's the different actions that are going on. First of all, I have a button press to press button 8. What is button 8? It's the stinger button. That's the button that just tells the hyperdeck to play that clip once. that looks like that. All it does. So what that does is it gives me just enough time where while it's covering everything up, I can swap all the things out that I need to. So, okay, press that button, wait half a second, which is just enough for it to cover because it slides in. And then we're going to swap out the graphic that's in the Media Player 1. So I'm going to go find Curtis background, swap out the graphic that's in Media Player 1. And then we're going to, I don't need it in Media Player 2 also, but I might as well. Great. Then we're going to go set the program input to Media Player 1. Now, program input, remember, that's, if I only did that, you would just see a blank of the studio. So then we're going to turn off the downstream key because some of the sets have that front layer and Curtis's does not. And then we're going to turn on the upstream key, which is already configured. And for this, I don't have anything. I don't have any actions in Companion or any macros to configure the green screen. I'm assuming that I've done that setup once and it's now good, and I'm just going to leave it and not mess with that setting. So all I have to do is turn it on. And then this is the part where we get to choose how zoomed in am I. This one I had to do as a macro because Companion does not have access to all of the little settings in the key. So the flying key is the one where I can, if I put myself on the air, see how I'm zoomed out. I can, get really small. I can go even bigger. And it does let you go over 1, which means I can zoom myself in case I need to be closer than I would be in somebody's studio. So these settings are not exposed in Companion, and that means I needed to make a macro. So I have a macro for setting. I have a macro for setting the flying key, setting the zoom essentially to 1.3x as well as 1x and 0.9. So for Curtis's, I think I needed to be closer, so we'll leave it at 1.3 and we'll run that macro. So now if I press this button on the iPad here, we're gonna run the stinger, wait half a second, and notice how I've got the relative delays checked, which means all of these actions happen after half a second. So we're going to wait half a second, which is just enough for that stinger to cover everything up. And it covers it up for just a few frames. And I'm going to swap all these things out underneath it. And then by the time it reveals, it'll be set. So that looks better. Now I'm in Curtis's studio. Okay, let's see if there's any questions. Zoom in my computer screen. Curtis's studio is pretty recognizable. The better the foreground layer, the more convincing the overall effect. Yep, I agree. I think the foreground layer really helps. We'll talk about that in a second too. Hey, Johnny, better make sure those studio cameras are still there. Alex's was worth the work. It looks great. Oh, I'm glad you think so. And oh, here's Curtis. Thank you for joining. Someday I hope to visit in person. It looks like Photo Joseph is doing something to your hair. That's funny. That's funny. Yeah, I didn't know there was such a thing as an unproper PNG. Oh, you could use Mix Effect and Companion to set the flying key. Yeah. Does Mix Effect expose those? Oh, it does, doesn't it? Does Mix Effect expose those controls to Companion? That would be cool. Yeah. But I don't have that rigged up right now. So it was not too much extra work to just do it as a macro. The one downside of macros, though, is that it's harder to maintain them because now if I wanted to change, like if I want to go 1.4, I have to make a new macro. Adam says, if you're, oh, I should go visit his studio while I read his comment. Adam says, if you're using Mix Effect with Companion, I have added the ability to control granular settings for things like flying key, mask position, and size. Okay, that is cool. So yeah, the that's great. So that means rather than having Companion talk to the ATEM, I have Companion talk to Mix Effect, and Mix Effect talks to the ATEM. That would totally work. Yeah, then I wouldn't need to worry about it, like duplicating the macro, and if I wanted to change it to some other other value like 1.5, 0.8. Yeah. Road trip. Someday we'll be able to do that. My hand's too big for the laptop. I think if I'm back here, it looks okay. Just gonna respond to some YouTube comments here. Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah. Bailey says thanking Photo Joseph for that ATEM. Yeah, he just did a very, very long live stream, a 5-hour video every time. 5-hour video of going through all the stuff on the ATEMs, which is super cool. It's so funny to see Aaron in my studio. Got to do this for real one day. I hope so. Yeah, no reflections. This is the one downside with this sort of low budget virtual set stuff, which is it's not a real virtual set. It's what's a real virtual set? It is not doing any actual like graphics work. It's just layers, right? So I've got the background layer, the foreground layer, and me stuck in the middle with the green screen. A virtual set would be able to do things like put reflections of the video that's being processed. Dean asks, how am I able to blend in so good to each background? Also, the lighting is class. Thank you. I appreciate it. I think the trick is that I'm pretty flatly lit. So I'm pretty flatly lit in this scene. So if I turn off this one, for example, I don't think I blend in as much. I might blend into Leela's studio here. Does that look? I think it's on. It's not as much, and I think this is. I think it's because the flat lighting makes it so that it's kind of just a neutral look, and it could be anywhere. Because also you'll notice that like most of these sets don't have a visible light source that should be illuminating me, right? This is the one exception, Jason Morris's over here. This is the one exception where there is a light in the shot, and it is not, it's on the wrong side. Like this is the brighter side, and you would expect that light to make that side brighter. So this is the one that's like maybe right on the edge, but I think, again, like you can clearly see there's some, oh, I just left the frame again. See that glare on the table on that side? That means there is actual real light over there, so it is lighting up the side of my face, and which is just kind of a coincidence. But I think it works because I'm relatively neutrally lit here. And then when in these kinds of shots for YouTube videos, you don't have the expectation of like a light in the frame being the main source of light of the subject. And that means that, like, what I mean by that is in most people's videos of themselves like this, they're going to be pretty brightly lit compared to whatever else is going on in the background. So if you look at Leela's videos, she's very brightly lit in her studio, and there isn't a light source visible, but it looks good because that's what you expect for these kinds of videos on YouTube. So I think that's one of the reasons, is because it's kind of just like comes with the territory of naturally of being a sort of unnatural look to begin with, where in a film you would expect more light sources in the shot and things like that. Andre says the hair light gives away when you have that background. So yeah, let's play with the lighting here too. I have most of my lights are controllable here. So let's take a look at if I turn off my hair light. So for this one, I think it does look better because it doesn't really make sense that there would be a light source in her studio. But I suspect for some of these it's going to look worse. Petra's probably looks good with no hair light. Yeah, I kind of blend into the background, and the hair light is helping pop out, but it does make it look more crisp, which is maybe not the goal here. So maybe for Petra's, I should have it off. And let's see. For John, what would I expect at John's studio? This one I think now looks worse because his background is brighter and there is clearly sunlight coming in from the background. So in that case, I think this one does look better with this light on. So this could be fun. We could add a light control to Companion as well. So if I go back to, can I do my super source? I don't have a button for resetting my super source to a background. I'm going to make that button now too. So if we go back over to here and turn off my upstream key, turn off his microphone, you can see I've got a graphic that's stuck in the background. What I want to do is make this button a super source button. So we're just going to go like this, and it bugs me when it's not all on one line. Program, set the program input to super source in here, but we're also going to set the media player 1 to my, not that one, the RGB background, and set the, that should do it. Oh no, the super source uses media player 2. So we're going to go and do that. There we go. Now I can go back and forth between somebody's set and this view. Much better. So what I wanted to do was add a lighting control into my buttons to change my set lighting based on whose studio I'm in. So John's studio does need the hair light. So I'm going to go Home Assistant, set the switch of my table hair light to on, but then in Petra's we're going to set it to off. So we're going to go switch, set the hair light off, and then who else's? I think Joseph's needs it. I think his does. Light or switch state to table, oops, I keep doing that, table hair light on. Ryan's studio. Which one, what do you think here? His is dark, so I'm going to go with off. Set the switch of the, I wish I could copy this action, but there isn't really a good way to do that. Table hair light off. Leela's definitely needed no hair light, so we're going to go set that switch state to off. And then Adam's, I'm going to assume, because it's very hard to see here, but I'm assuming because of that bright spot, it's going to look better with it on. Okay, there's a lot of... Thank you to all of you wonderful people who sent me your studio shots. This is very fun. Let's see, Jason Morris. His is dark. Let's go with off for now and see how it looks. And we're gonna go through all these one by one to double check. I think because Alex's is bright, it'll look better if it's on. And the hair light is on. And then Curtis's is also kind of dark, so we're gonna go off. And set the switch state to off. And then on my two angles, I do want it on because that is how I have my set. I have a hair light in both of the angles. Okay. So that was a lot of buttons to make. Let's take a look at how this works. Also, I don't know how quickly the Z-Wave switch is going to respond to that command. So it's gonna wait that half a second for the stinger to come across, and then it's going to tell it to turn off, and hopefully it happens fast enough. Oh, thank you, Philip. Thanks for the super chat. Time to start a road trip fund in order to help all of our favorite YouTubers get together for a fun gathering that you then hopefully film and or stream so that the rest of us can join you all virtually. I love it. I hope we can do that. I hope we can do that at some point. I appreciate it. Well, that will, yeah, definitely, it's definitely on the list. Okay. Let's take a look. Let's start at John's. Okay, so the hair light is on and it stayed on. Now let's go to somebody's who's got it off. I think it was off in Petra's, right? So we're gonna go over to Petra's studio. Turned off, I heard the click, and now that looks pretty good. And let's go pop over to Adam's where it's gonna turn back on. It turned on exactly when it needed to. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. And then let's take a look at Curtis's studio again. It turned off. You can't see it turn off because it happens right when it switches. And then okay, here's what I can do. I can actually show you the multi-view of the ATEM so that you can see what's going on. So let me do that. Let's configure that like that. And, oh, Bailey, thank you. I second the previous super chat notion. I love it. I appreciate it. Okay, so we're gonna show you the multi-view of my whole show. These are all the sources I've got plugged in. So I've got my main camera over here, which isn't doing anything. I've got my computer input, which is just so that I can show you my screen. The main camera with the green screen, and I have other camera angles one over here, one over there, which I haven't cut to very much yet. And then the HyperDeck is plugged into 6, which is playing either some of these backgrounds are videos, overhead camera, just in case I wanted to show you something there. And then the super source I put in slot 8. But the reason I wanted to show you this was because as I switch over to somebody else's set, you'll see all the different pieces here now. Although maybe I should disable the stinger for now. Let's do that. I'm going to disable the stinger because otherwise it will actually cover up what you're seeing because it's going to cover my multi-view. I don't have I do have an empty slot to move it to. So all of these, thankfully, all of these buttons are going to push that spot 8. So I just took the button off of slot 8. You can't really see it on my screen. It's very small, but that should disable the stinger. So if I go over here, you'll see all the different parts to it. Oh yeah, I forgot. The stinger obviously is not in this, so you didn't see it at all because I turned it off. I didn't run it. So you'll have to imagine the stinger. Oh, I have an idea. No, I have a better idea. Let's bring it back. Let's bring that back and let's go and actually change on the television studio, which is where that's happening. Let's change the downstream key, which is the HyperDeck, to something where it's going to not cover it up entirely. Not covered it up entirely. So if I want to, I think I need to. There we go. Okay. Oh, it's very hard to. I just want a little bit in the frame. Come on. Just give me a little bit of... Too much. There's no good jog wheel on the ATEM. Okay, here we go. What I want to do is make this partially transparent so that you can see through it. Which one is it? This one? Can I get it to be just a little bit transparent? Okay, that's what I can do. 99.3, 99.5. Okay, so you'll be able to see the stinger happen, but also see through it. That's what I want you to be able to do. So we'll run the stinger. Yeah, now you can see it happening. You'll see what it would have looked like if it covered it up, and now that'll kind of tell you where these things are going to change. Okay, so here we are, and we're going to pop over to, let's see, I have no hair light on, so I want to go to one that has a hair light. Here is Adam's. Yeah, that totally, so you could see now, you can probably see in the wide shot, this one I'm pointing at, if you'll watch that wall, it should change. It should get darker when the light turns off. Yeah. So, okay. I think this is working pretty well. And I only have to change one light. I'm pretty sure the rest of these are going to look worse if I turn them off. So that's that one. And then the other light is the big light. I could just be a spooky ghost in someone's studio. It's kind of creepy. The green screen is still working great though. Oh, that's kind of a cool effect. But yeah, I think all of these look better with both the lights on. So yeah, and then there's that light turned off right while the stinger was covering it, and that worked great. But that's what's going on. Let's talk about, let me see if there's any other questions, and then we'll talk about some more of these. I need to go back, get rid of that. And, oh, I did see a comment, which is this one. The camera looks more blurry than the background somehow. Yeah, so the one sort of like downside with the way I'm doing this is in this one and in a couple other shots where I'm zoomed in, what's actually happening is I'm enlarging my video. So that means that it is in fact more blurry because there aren't enough pixels. So I'm using the, let me go back to my other ATEM and I'll zoom in even more to show you. If I go to my flying key and then I'm at 1.37, but I can like go to, oh, this is gonna look awkward. Yeah. So now I'm looking really blurry because I'm zoomed in like 2x. And that means I'm taking my 1080 video and enlarging it to more than 1080, which is not great. So like this would look a lot better if everything here was in 4K. All my cameras were 4K, the program was 4K, and then I was downscaling the output to 1080 so that there was enough resolution. And I made the decision that it was good enough to work for today. I'm a little bit scooted down now. I think that the, yeah, so I'm zooming in, the pixels get bigger, so that is exactly what you're seeing. And if I'm zooming out, the pixels are getting smaller, so this should look much better. The other thing I could have done was zoomed in my camera more, and to the point where the native resolution was the largest I would ever want to look. And then I could shrink it all down for everybody else's sets. And for that, I think the reason I didn't do that is, what's the reason? Oh, I think it's because it would have cropped my hands sooner. So in this shot, I can have my hands very nearly on the table. This is the little remote and it's on the table and you can see it, right? So I've just barely got the edge of the table here that you can't see. I wanted to be able to have my hands down here in the shot. And if I had zoomed in, then, you know, it would be like cropping down here. So that's the one sort of downside of how I got this set up. But yeah, that is because I'm running everything in 1080. Okay, other questions. Automation works, companion for the win. Yeah, totally. Oh, and then I'm actually curious, how many of you noticed that something was up when I started the show like this, which is definitely a little bit unnatural looking, and I was hoping it would just sort of, nobody would notice. This is not exactly the same framing that I am when I am actually sitting at that table, but I am green screened on top of this. Oh, here's a weird one. So that's my picture. This is live. This is a live video, which means, see how my chair is moving? Which means I can actually reach back here and try to grab my own hand, which is very weird. I'm in the video twice. This is because that's the live video, but this one is the still shot. The lights are too large. That's interesting. Because I mean that is my shot. That didn't change, but this layer changed. The middle layer, the green screen layer, is not where I normally am sitting. I think I'm usually a little bit closer. I don't know exactly. Yeah, that is super creepy. I don't know. I don't know why it's so creepy to see myself in the video twice. It's so funny. It's so funny. Two cameras. Yeah. Okay. The green screen use can be seen on the hair. Yeah. So the ATEM's green screen is pretty good, but it's not perfect. And it's because it's, you know, not their like $10,000 green screen machine. So if you look very closely, you'll see, you can see that it is in fact green screened, especially if I like fluff my hair up. Although, I don't know, it's doing a really good job. And as I was, in one of those other videos I just did about the YoloBox, or YoloBox compared to the ATEM, I was like holding stuff up against the green screen, and it does a very good job of even like, I don't have the fuzzy windscreen near here, but the fuzzy windscreen was looking really good on it too. It's confusing because I'm looking at this and I'm thinking I'm at my desk and I'm not at my desk. Okay, let's talk about this one. So this one with the extra layer. The microphone. So let me see. I should have the layers up on my computer. Let's open up, yeah, front and back. So get these open in Photoshop and pop back over to the, oh geez, did something wrong. What did I do? I made that button wrong. Oh, I have to turn off the key. So my super source button did not turn off the downstream key. Off air, that should fix that. So let's try that button again. And upstream key. Upstream key off air. There we go. So, yeah. Oh yeah, press that button again. Now I'm in the right spot. Also, this is one of the limits of the super source, is I can't remove this screen, because this screen, I can't put a, this is not a, this is a super source box. So if I wanted to, I can't key out a box. I have to, it is just one of the inputs. What I could do instead of putting myself in there with the super source box is I could instead use the keyer and fly myself over there and scale down to the right size. And about like there and about there. Although now it looks weird that I'm like cropped. And then I can just turn off the super source box 1. So that looks better. But it does look weird that I'm not on, that I'm kind of cropped out. Oops, not the mask. Flying key. I want to move myself down to maybe line up with that. Or should I go all the way down? Maybe I'll go all the way down. While I'm here, I might as well scoot myself over there and scoot super source box to over there. There we go. Yeah. Okay. So it's looking better. What was I doing? Oh, I wanted to show you Alex's layers. Okay. So he sent me this. And he's got this microphone and desk and laptop, which are sort of in the front of the scene. And I want that microphone to be in front of me. So again, with the way that the keyer works is, think of it as like, think of it as layers. So whatever's your program input is, whatever's your program input, it's going to be on the, think of it as like the background layer. And then your downstream key is the top layer. And then your upstream keys kind of let you insert things into the middle. So the layers are, this is the background image. And if we go back over to the ATEM, you can see that I've got, his background image here. And then what I can do is I want to put something in the foreground. That was my super source background. So what I want is just the foreground pieces. So I took a while to trace this, and I traced it all manually. The Photoshop auto thing didn't work great. But thankfully, most of these are straight lines. So, for example, I just drew straight lines here. But you might notice that I did blur the straight line, because that really helps add to the effect. I don't know why there's a little bit of black. That was just in what he sent me. The blur here actually does help quite a lot with the effect. And the same with, actually it was way more noticeable in Petra's. So same idea. Petra has a background with a bunch of stuff, but then this microphone in the front. So I want to pull that out. And I also did the same blur effect here. So because it's blurred, what that means is when I go and add it as the downstream key, and we go bring that back on air, you'll notice that I can't point there, but the blurred edge really does help sell the effect. So if I go back to here, wait, no, I need to be there. And we've got Petra's microphone in Alex's studio, and I'm on Alex's desk as a tiny ant. Mouse, like cat size maybe. And but yeah, I really think that blur helps, because without it, it would have just fallen apart. And it makes it blend in. I feel like it's a good way to kind of cheat. So Alex's microphone does not have that. So I needed to be, now I didn't save all of my super source positions and stuff. So I'm going to lose that as soon as I go away from this. For this one, I used the blur effect here because it's way in the front and it was out of focus. But on the desk, I didn't blur it. I was just too lazy. And then it looked fine as a perfectly straight line. This one, if you look really close, you'll see some problems with it. But it was just a lot of brushing, really. I did use the quick selection around here as a first pass. That's the tool where you can go in Photoshop and use, it's this one. So quick selection tool, because his background is pretty flat, it does a reasonable job at a first pass. But see how it's not quite perfect and it missed a little bit there, so you can refine it. You can add that. We can add that. But if we actually go and, I'm doing this in the inverse too. So if we actually go and use this, then I'll invert the selection and then mask here. It's okay, right? It's like, it's a good start, but it's not perfect. So then what I did was I went back with a brush and did all this cleanup manually. So a little harder edge there. Get rid of that, bring some of that back, get rid of that stuff. Some of these are a little bit choppy looking, so I would go back through and like smooth it out. It took a while. Thankfully, this part was a nice straight line, so that was just an easy draw a straight line, and now that's gone, right? So that was the process, more or less, to get this result. And at that point, when you stick that in the front layer, it's pretty convincing. Yeah, okay, so let's see, that was Alex's. Who else had foreground? Petra did. Photo Joseph had a foreground as well, but again, it was mostly a straight line. Thankfully, straight line all the way across here, and it pretty much meets up right there. So then a straight line up to the laptop, trace around the edge, and I don't need to go that far because I don't have my green screen that far, and that's the foreground layer. Again, kind of lose the effect because of his super reflective desk. I thought about like making it more flat white, but I thought that might just look bad at the end of the day. So with a real graphics engine, I could have, put a reflection of my live video flipped on as the reflection, which would have been really cool. But I don't have that kind of software. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So I wish I could save this layout. I should just make a macro to restore this layout right now. This is create super source screen here, and we're going to enable box 2, disable box 1. We're going to set the box 2 position to here, here, and here. Oh, thanks, Eric. Kudos to the old school Photoshop selection masking skills. Appreciate it. Yeah, just a lot of paintbrushing, really. What do I need to do? Oh, I need to change the upstream key. So the upstream key, flying key, that was the part that I needed to change. So that puts me in the right spot. And then we're going to turn it on and set the super source to program. And that is that macro. Cool. So I should be able to replace my companion button with running that macro. So I don't need that because it's in the macro. I do need to swap the graphic. I still do need to turn that key off. I don't need to turn that one. And then I'm going to run macro, which, let's see if it's got the name already. I don't remember where I put it. Sometimes they don't show up immediately. Let's see if I can find out what slot it's in. It is right before super source with slides. My macros are just full of stuff that I haven't used in a while. So it's macro 29. Okay, let's try this. Let's pop back over to Lego Studio. My light turned off. And can I restore my super source? Oh, okay. So this is why I have the stinger, because I don't know if you noticed, it was very quick, but there was like a frame or two that it didn't all happen in sync. So it like switched over to the super source layout, but then a frame later I appeared, or it like resized me a frame later. It happened really quick. So we'll go back over to here, and Now, if I pop back into that layout, watch very closely, you'll see there's a little glitch. See how it, like, yeah, it was before it had a chance to resize my green screen, the program had already changed. So then I shrunk it down like a frame late. And that's why I used the stinger. So I should be able to add a button, press button 8, and that will, we'll do that first. Then we're going to wait the half a second before we do anything else. So now if I go pop over here and then pop back to the super source layout, now it hides that little glitch. That's why I do that. My stinger is longer than it needs to be effective, but it does work. Okay, let's see what else we've got in the chat. I can't put my hand that far over there. Any other questions here? Oh, Philip, the very slight delay between the two layers is hilarious when you reach out to touch your own hand. Yeah. It's just a little bit delayed because of different cameras. The camera that is looking at my the one that's looking at the green screen is the G7, which has a significant HDMI delay. The one that's the main camera here is the Pocket 4K, where the HDMI delay is virtually non-existent, which is amazing. And yeah, if I move like that, you can definitely see it. And that's why I have to add the audio delay on any microphones that run through those cameras. Oh, what was this about? Maybe the green screen does not lit evenly. No, so that's something different. The green screen is not lit evenly. Like I can tell you that, right? It's not perfect. If I was better, I would have done a better job at lighting it, because there's a pretty big difference between this green and that green. But the ATEM is handling it very well. So like if I do change my keying settings, let's go back to the super source. And then you can, why didn't it resize me? That's weird. I could have sworn I put that action in the macro. Oh, the flying key was off. I forgot to include the flying key on. Yeah. Okay, so anyway, what I wanted to do was in here change my keying settings. So I don't think I have these I don't think I have these in a macro, so I have to remember these. 2.5, 100, 42.4. If I change the foreground, for example, you'll see it fall apart very quick. This is what happens when you have an unevenly lit green screen, is you have to really crank up that number in order to have it include that whole range of greens. So if I was better, I would have evenly lit the green screen, and that would have helped. And then the background one is, yeah, same idea. Okay. The key edge is one I was playing around with too, because this also makes a big difference. And there's a point where it starts taking away too much of me, but I felt like somewhere around here was pretty good. Oh, I see Photo Joseph is leaving. We'll say goodbye to him over here as well. Thanks for joining. I hope that was worth the Sunday morning diversion. Trevor says you're still getting a lot of green spill fringing around your hair due to the green screen lighting. Yeah, part of that is actually because I'm too close to the green screen. I should be farther away from it, but I don't have a lot of space in here. And that means that it is reflecting the green light back onto me. Bye, Joseph. It is reflecting some of that green light onto me, so it is kind of messing that up. There is a setting in the ATEM spill correction, and if I turn that off, you can see it's worse, and you can see there's more green around me. And if I just had it turned up a little bit, it works out okay. again, it's not perfect, but again, this is not a $10,000 keyer. Over here, it's really weird that the light in this room turns off now when I switch scenes. That's so funny. I'm glad somebody mentioned that because it does help the effect. The subtle tree movement is a nice touch. I agree. And the candle. Oh yeah, I was going to mention that. So Leela sent me it was like 30 seconds or so of video, and let me see if I have it in this folder. I do. So if we go, yeah, go back to the super source. I'm probably not in the corner. I am in the corner. Great. This is what she had sent, and if you look, here's the first frame, and pay attention to the direction the flame is pointing, right? Which is straight, pretty much. If you go all the way to the end, it's not, right? It's in a different spot. So if I were to just loop it, it would look every 30 seconds, you would see a glitch, like a glitch in the Matrix, and that would also ruin the effect. So I don't think I have, yeah, I did this on my other computer. So I don't have it. Oh no, I did do it on this computer. Too many computers. This is what I ended up doing. The clip that she sent me starts here. No, starts. Yeah. And what I did was, let me see if I can explain this. This is not the beginning of the video clip she sent. This is a part in the middle of the clip that she sent that I picked arbitrarily. I also then made the end of my video that same splice. So it's like I took her video, picked a spot in the middle, split, and then swapped them. Right? Because now this end is the same part of the video as this beginning. Now I've got a problem here. So how can I solve this problem? Well, let me see. What did I do here? Oh my gosh, how did I solve it? Oh, I did a really cheap solution, which was blurring the transition. So since there's a glitch here, and if you look at the video, you'll see it. Oh, also, I think she had a hand in there, so I cut that out. Just stop it there. Get rid of that. Okay, so there's a glitch in the Matrix here. It's barely noticeable, but it is noticeable. If you watch the flame, it does not. It suddenly is in a different spot, right? So we go over here, and then as soon as I'm done with that, the flame skips. Yeah, there's the skip. So I want to cover that up. In the trees, maybe it's more noticeable in the trees even. So to cover that up, all I did was I took the cheap way out, which was just a cross dissolve. And, I need to give myself some material there to use in the cross dissolve. And I can cover that up. And with just a couple of frames, it just looks like motion now. It just looks like part of the rest of the motion. Mark says, can I have the second clip in reverse and then it would loop? Yeah, that is what I thought I had done and I didn't. So if it's gonna take more of these, right? So I have my splice there and there, so I want to leave those, and then I want to put it back together. So I can take that one and flip that one so that this is seamless now. The problem is that sometimes flames look wrong backwards. Yeah, that part looks wrong. The flames don't move that way. It's really subtle, but you might be able to get away with it. It's really close here. But yeah, flames do look wrong when they're backwards, so it sometimes doesn't work. Anyway, I feel like the cheap solution of just doing a crossfade did work fine. The real thing that made it work was the fact that this end frame, this last frame, is from the same part of the video as the beginning frame. And when it's loaded into the hyperdeck does do a seamless loop. And the seamless loop in the hyperdeck, it does not skip frames when it goes back and loops the file. So that makes that work. Joseph's video, his shot was locked the whole time. So like, he sent me this long, which was like 13 seconds. And there he is in the middle. And I wanted him to not be coming into the scene every 13 seconds. So that's why I've got all these little bits here. This is like the first part of his video looped a bunch of times so that he's only appearing once every minute. And I felt like a good balance there. Oh, Ryan's also moves, but you can barely see it. If you look in here, somewhere in here, his door opens up. There it is. He pokes his head in, but you can barely see it. So he pops in every, he sent me a long clip. So it's like 2 minutes. Okay, let's put his on the screen and let's go back and look at the questions. So yeah, we'll see if he pops his head in through the door. Bailey says 1 hour mark achieved. Can we go for 2? Oh God, time is flying by. Andre says, now that you've mastered all the green screen stuff, you can dismantle this unneeded studio gear and just keep a green screen setup. I know, right? I actually had that thought because I was like, oh, I gotta turn on my background lights so that they're in the shot. And I was like, wait a second, I don't actually have any cameras pointing at the shelf. I don't need the background lights on right now. Oh, forgot this is the confusing week where the US hasn't changed our clocks yet, but Europe has. And this week, I'm sure everyone's gonna be late for meetings all the time. And then the next week, we change our clocks back. Australia has already changed their clocks forward a couple weeks ago, which is even more confusing. Time is just a giant mess. And the next week, I've got a surprise. So it's actually going to be a different time for the US than my normal time, but it's fine because it's daylight savings time, so nobody really knows what the right time is anyway. US doesn't change for another week. Let's see, whose set haven't I visited in a while? Oh, here's Jason's set. I haven't been here in a while. This one's, I feel like the desk is just a little bit off. I need to be like farther back for my hands to look like they're underneath the desk. Oh, Graham says, you could have removed the flame and added another with fusion's particles. Way more work than I'm willing to do, but yes. Yeah. In Germany, their clock changed last night. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, Europe is all switched over now to normal time, but we are not yet in the US, although we will be tomorrow. Okay, I saw a couple more questions. Mark says, I'm behind in the stream. I need to light a studio. What lights do you recommend? COBs and light panels. Have you tried GVM? Yeah, actually, GVM sent me last year the light that I'm using behind me that's lighting up the green screen, and it's been fine. It's been good. The one problem with it is that if you need the full color range of RGB lights, it is missing some of the oranges, and you just can't get some of the orange colors from it. But for the whites and other colors like the teal that I use, it's fine. But this main key light, let me see. I think I have a list of, I hope I have a list of all my gear. All the lighting that I use here. Do I have it? because I often forget some of these brands. Oh, it's probably my studio tour video. That would be where it is. So yeah, I'm glad I did that. That was a good call. Where is it? Studio tour. Just drop that link. Oh, where's my YouTube tab? Studio tour video. Go take a look at that because that's where I have links to all the different lights and stuff that I do have in here. That is a light with a, let's see, that one, is it on this angle? Yeah, you can kind of see it up here. It's got a little grid on it too. And then the one over there is the one that I used to use as my main studio light and for the desk. And that's the one that's on the other side of my face. Let's go back over to Amsterdam. Oh yeah, this is that blur effect I was talking about where like because Petra's microphone is in the foreground and it's out of focus, the blur kind of helps make it work. It's not perfect when there's something bright behind it, but with my shirt, it works okay. Oh, and that's the other part of blending into all these backgrounds is I wore a neutral color shirt. I thought that would be a good idea instead of like a bright color that might clash. Graham says, that's unrealistic. There's no way the sun is shining in the window of John's tiny house at this time of night. Good point. It is not daytime over there. Bailey says, the hour ahead in Australia is really handy. Show starts at 4 instead of 3. It's about to change again because when we fall back, oh my God, I can't do the math. We're going to fall back again, which means isn't going to change to 5 a.m. for you. So that's even better next week. Neutral color, you mean not that bright pink jacket? That'll be a different stream. Yeah. Yes, definitely go back and watch the beginning of the stream. Because we had some fun in the beginning too. Oh, Trevor says, yeah, it can happen when the green screen is too bright. You get the green reflecting off of it and onto the subject. Yep. And given how well the ATEM is keying out the dark part of the green up here, I probably could actually crank my entire light down, the brightness down a lot, because the green is pretty bright. This is what it looks like, and this does not need to be that bright because it's doing a fine job of keying that, and that would help reduce some of the green that's happening right up here. Philip says, you need to pull out your colorful jacket because you've reached 25K. I have. Let's talk about that for a minute. Thank all of you for that, because that is obviously not anything I can do. That is all of you subscribing. So thank you for that. And I am very excited that I have hit 25K. And yeah, I don't know what we're going to do to celebrate yet. I wasn't expecting to hit it today, so I didn't plan anything other than the Halloween stream today. But we'll do something fun. I don't know if it's going to be a marathon stream or a giveaway or something, but we'll do it in like 2 weeks because I have another plan for next week. Do you ever get annoyed that you have 25,000 subscribers yet only a couple hundred tune into live streams? No, not at all. I am very happy with the couple hundred that tune into the live streams. Just because people are subscribed does not mean they're going to watch every video I make, which is completely fine. And I don't expect everybody to tune in all the time. Also, not everybody can watch it this time because some people are asleep right now. Totally fine. Thank you for the congrats. Oh, here's a question. It seems like the Elgato green screen is very good in low light. I guess, yeah. Oh yeah, I didn't even mention it. I do have a link to this in the description, but this is the Elgato green screen that folds down into the floor, which I like how quickly that is able to just get out of the way, and I can set it up really quick. Bring me back into my studio. There we go, that's a little better. Now I've got the pumpkins on the shelf too. Oops, I have to stop reaching out of the frame. Uh, when I saw the title for the stream, I was so confused about how you were going to do that, and now I know. Yes. Oh, Pat says, did my first streaming and recording event last week. Thanks for all the tips. Realized controlling 2 PTZ cameras on someone pacing back and forth plus switching isn't easy. Oh my gosh. That sounds like a project. Yeah, PTZ camera control is like a whole thing, and it is, I feel like you need a dedicated person doing that, especially if the people are pacing, because switching and doing that sounds like a nightmare. Philip says you need to have a bubbly boozy live stream again to celebrate 25K. Yeah, that could be fun too. Maybe I'll have to. Yeah, maybe we'll do that when I come back. Let me see. There were some other questions up here while I was blabbering on about stuff. Oh, from Ben. Not a knock on your setup, but I have my ATEM Mini green screen dialed in more than yours. The ATEM Mini is quite good, but you can spend a lot of time tweaking settings and lights. Totally. Yeah, again, like, I'm not claiming to be a green screen expert at all, and I did not spend that long setting this up, and I probably could have spent longer and done it even better. So I'm also like, I have these lights and I have, the hair light and stuff, but I didn't want to move everything around to get the perfect lighting. So if I had been willing to do more setup of like, move things around even more to get even better lighting, maybe move myself farther away from the green screen because it's like right back here. Where is it? There it is. I can touch it. If I was willing to do that, I could have probably got a better effect. But hopefully this is good enough to sell the effect as a demo at least. And if you are trying this out yourself, you'll be able to do it even better than this. Because yeah, the ATEM Mini green screen is good, but it's good. The Ultimate is better, which is like $10,000, but the ATEM Mini green screen is good, and it can get better than this if you set it up properly. Having super even and soft lighting helps green screen, and also increasing your shutter speed will help with the motion blur. That was actually one of the things I thought was surprisingly good about this, is that, so I have my shutter speed set to my normal 180 degrees, so it's you get a good, you do see a blur. And I thought that it's doing a pretty good job of not bleeding green through when I'm moving in front of the green screen. I guess you can kind of see it, but it's surprisingly good. Yeah, next on the wish list is the Ultimate. I do not need that. I do not need that. If I had a full studio with green walls, then maybe, yeah. For the minimum viable green screen, I'm sold. That was good enough for me. Yeah, cool, thanks. Graham says, at an event last week, I gave up keeping track of the speaker pacing around, just switched to a wide view, then reframed them in DaVinci for the recorded version. That's a good solution. I have also done that. Sometimes usually when I'm doing conferences like that, I'll have a fixed wide shot that I can always use as a fallback to just fall back onto that wide shot. And then I will try to get a close-up. And if they're not moving around too much, I can sometimes track them, because sometimes they'll just be like, they'll park in front of the podium for a while, then they'll go like into the middle, and I can just lock off there. But yeah, if they're pacing back and forth, it's too much, and I just switch to the wide shot. Reframing it in DaVinci is a more work than I am usually willing to do, even on those. Fleety says, it looks great. I work with a 6x8 meter green screen every day. Your lighting works very well. Thank you. 6 meters. That's huge. That's really big. Awesome. Yeah, this thing is tiny. This is like 5 feet wide, maybe 7 feet tall. Trevor says, would you say you almost always stream off the ATEM directly instead of feeding it into OBS and streaming from OBS? I never stream from OBS. I am using OBS right now for the comments. So that's how I'm using OBS, but it is outputting to the Ultra Studio. Is that the word? That's the word. Ultra Studio 4K over, so that I can run the output over SDI into the show. But yeah, I do not stream from OBS. I don't have a computer fast enough that I trust to do that well, which is why I don't do it. And if I did have a faster computer, I might be more willing to consider that as an option, but I do like the hardware options better of running all the stuff through the ATEMs. I keep forgetting that I'm green screen in front of my own studio. It's funny. Let's go pop over to somebody else's again. I haven't been over to see Curtis in a while. Although this is the one that's zoomed in, so I'm a little bit blurrier. Yeah. Philip says, I feel your pain. I do AV for a church, so anytime we have a pastor who walks around while preaching, I have to stay on top of the PTZ. Yeah. Oh, the tracking cameras could be cool too, for sure. Although, I don't know how much I trust those for that kind of setting. Because sometimes the people are too far away for it to like get a good idea. Depends on the lighting and the set, I guess. Cool. Okay. We are at the 90-minute mark. Let's go ahead and just do one more quick pass through all these studios and we'll wrap up. This has been fun. Thanks to everybody who sent me their sets to play around with. That was a lot of fun. All of the links to these channels are down below. So this is Leela from YouTube. We've got Adam, who makes the Mix Effect app, and Jason Morris, who I've learned a lot of stuff from his channel. He's way better at the whole videography and aesthetic side of things than me, as you can probably tell by the look of this set. Alex has some amazing videos as well on the ATEM and other things too. So yeah, this has been fun. This has been a fun stream. Getting a chance to virtually visit everybody's studios, even though I can't get there in person yet. Sometime, I hope, I will be able to visit all of these amazing people. And yeah, next week I've got something a little bit different in store. I'm not going to tell you what it is yet. You'll have to just tune in and find out. And it will be at a different time than normal for many reasons, one of which is daylight savings time. The other is because of some scheduling constraints about what I am planning. So make sure you do subscribe to this channel, but also subscribe to the newsletter that my newsletter, which is linked below, but it is available at my website, aaronpk.tv. And the newsletter down at the bottom, you'll get an email 30 minutes before I actually go live. Today, it was a little bit delayed for technical issues, but normally it is normally that should go out automatically. So yeah, it'll be fun. All I will say, can you give those of us who are still here a sneak preview teaser for next week? I can't do that without giving it away to everybody who's watching the recording too. But all I will say is that I'm not going to be in my studio next week. So that is that's the teaser. And just to wrap up, I'll wrap up on my set. Thanks everybody for joining. This was a lot of fun. And yeah, I'm not going to be here. I'll be somewhere else. Not gonna reveal where yet, but it should be a lot of fun. Okay. Oh, one more question from Bailey. Yeah. Do you have a macro or some comments that you normally do, like your website? No, I've been thinking about doing it because I can use the YouTube API to post a comment into the chat. And what it's like next thing on my list I've been thinking about doing is buttons to drop links into the chat. So I can have a button that's like, here's my website, and it pushes it, and then it just drops into the chat. So that's on my to-do list. Thank you for all the happy Halloween and 25K wishes. Thank you all for joining. We'll roll the credits. Thank you for the super chats. And the congrats. And yeah, we'll do something fun for 25K after I am back here after next week. So, road trip. It's gonna be a little bit more than a road trip. I will also say that. Yeah, we will. I'm probably gonna bring the YoloBox for the stream next week, so I'll be streaming from the YoloBox. Probably also my little Sony ZV-E10 and ZV-1, which I now have in white. And yeah, it'll be fun. Thanks everybody for joining, and have a very happy Halloween, and I will see you all next time.